The fees for ACCA is something which is always confusing students because no matter how much research you do online, how many people you speak to, friends and relatives who have actually pursued ACCA, there is always some kind of fee which is coming up again, which you are not aware about, and you've got to pay it urgently and things like that. So in this video, we're going to talk about all the fees that you would ever have to budget for should you decide to take up ACCA. Now I'm going to split it into two parts. One is what we pay the ACCA body, and B is what you would pay your training provider or any college you're attending for ACCA. So first, with respect to the ACCA body. Okay, I'm going to tell you all a few points which you'll have to remember. Okay, first is the registration fee, which is a one-time fee. If you pay directly, it is 89 pounds, which in Indian rupees is around 9,000 rupees. Right. Then there is something called a subscription fee. Now, subscription fee means the minute you register for ACCA, every year you have to pay the ACCA body something known as a subscription fee. It's like a membership fee. It's like if I join a club, every year I'm a part of the club, I have to pay some amount, right? In the same way, you have to pay the ACCA, and that is around 112 pounds, which is close to 11,000 rupees per year. Remember that once you become a member, right now I'm assuming most of us listening would be students. So if you decide to take it up, it's 11,000 per year. But once you become a member, it almost increases by 2.5 times, which means as a member, you still have to continuously pay your subscription fees, but it goes north of 25,000 rupees. That's the subscription fee. Also, ACCA has some weird rule that if you register in the first half of the year, then in your first year, you might not have to pay subscription and things like that. Don't get confused with all of that. Just remember that in your first year, you will most likely have to pay 11,000 rupees for subscription, and after that, every year. That is the subscription fee. Third is what we pay the body called exam fees. Exam fees are the fees you will have to pay every time you want to appear for the exam, whether it's your first attempt or it's a repeated attempt. I can go into the depth of each level fees. Knowledge level fees, exam fees are something separate, skill is separate, and professional separate. However, these fees you can find on the ACCA Global website, but just for an average for everybody, it ranges between 10,000 on an average per paper from knowledge level, almost down to 20,000 at the professional level. So that's the sort of range. Next is something which is a one-time fee, which is called ethics module. Now, ethics module, a few years ago, ACCA would not charge us, and ethics module is something which is mandatory for us as a student to complete if we want to go from being an ACCA affiliate to a member. And this is, I think, around 60 pounds if I'm not wrong. So that's around 6,000 rupees for people from India. The last fee which we will have to pay the body is something that we pay on applying for membership. So now imagine you finished all the 13 papers, you're done, you've passed, you've completed the PER, which is the 3 years of work experience plus the performance objectives plus the ethics module. If, by the way, you don't know any of these things, we have separate videos for them, so please do have a look at it. So you're done with all your hard work, and now it's just time to claim the prize. You want to call yourself a member so that officially across the world you can go and present yourself as a fully qualified global CA. So that little shift is, I think, around 258 pounds. So that's another 25,000 rupees, which is one time, beyond which you then only have to pay subscription fees. So these fees, guys, is what this covers everything that you would be paying to the ACCA body. Remember that right now we are in 2021 September. We are taking this conversion at 100 rupees per pound. So my calculations to all people listening for the rupee terms, rupee amount is this much. The pound rate fluctuates. Remember that the ACCA body has complete prerogative to change these fees anytime they want. They can come up with something new. And if we want to gain their certification, we would have to oblige. Over so many years, here and there, the numbers have gone up and down a little bit. But the total outflow for us as a student has not increased by much more than 10-15%. This is what we pay to the body, which is unavoidable. Now, let me come to what we pay for the training fees. Now, the other component is training fees. And remember, in training fees, you will always have to remember study material as maybe a separate fee. Study material by most providers, they use the global approved ACCA publishers, which are BPP and Kaplan. We at Zell have also used it for ages, and on an average, per subject, if you use either BBP or CAPS, it's around 3,500 rupees per subject. So just for you all to keep in mind that there is a cost to it. Now, lastly, coming to the training fees, it's actually quite complex because you have different variations, right? If you take the entire course, if you take level wise, if you take paper wise, some have weekends, some have weekdays, some have self-paced recordings. If you go into the depths of it, it's really time consuming. So I'm going to give you all a simple way to keep calculations on it, right? So at Excel, we do all the papers, all the levels. We have weekend, weekday, we have self-paced, everything. If you take the training for papers 1 through 13, overall, it'll be anywhere between around 2 to 3 lakhs for the training fees. Total all papers. Now this you can divide into different levels and papers and expect a slight hike or a drop in the prices depending on where you are. But 2 to 3 lakh budget is good enough to calculate all the amounts for the training bit. So this is the entire start to end, all the fees that you would ever have to pay for ACCA from the time you start till hopefully the end of time when you actually, for whatever reason, are deciding to now retire or give it up. This is the overall outlay. If anybody tells you there are additional fees or do not cover these fees, they are wrong, because all of these fees are mandatory unless you decide to back out. So I hope that this clarifies it for a lot of you all, and if there is still some form of unclarity, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, do like, share and subscribe.